Well, last week was a really interesting week. It was our first show of the year in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It was a week-long show, and it was a very positive experience, a very big confidence builder. And here's a look back at what happened. So something really cool just happened. Tied to win the Novice Horse Open Level 1 with TX, and in a three-way tie with a 72, and I had a great run. I was really happy with him. It wasn't perfect, but it was good, and I had a penalty at the end where after my last stop I was supposed to back up, and he thought about rolling back, so I had to catch him and bring him back, and I didn't zero, but I got a penalty and got a 72, but still was happy with it, and then ended up in a three-way tie. And I don't know, I felt like running off because it's such a good horse and he feels so good and we work so hard, and I don't know, it's not the biggest class in the world, but I don't know, felt like doing it. And oh my god, he got me a 73.5, and he just was so great in there, and with little preparation just go in there and tried so hard, and such a big heart. And that is what's so rewarding in this industry, is when you can do that and get in there and go in there and have that horse just really try hard for you, and there's nothing more rewarding. And so I'm so excited right now and feeling great, and I don't know, this is just what we do this for, and this is what we are in this for, and I cannot be more happy than I am right now with this big guy, which I think is definitely ready to go home and has earned himself a good week off. Very happy. Sorry if I wasn't very clear on this video. I was a little bit tired, but mostly very emotional, because TX had just really given me all that he had in a runoff, which led for us to win the Novice Horse Open class with a 73.5, and a 73.5 is a really good score at this point in time in this horse's career, and this was my ultimate goal, and we achieved it on many levels. And it's very rewarding feeling knowing that everything that we've worked on really held up and really stuck and paid off. And so anyways, so I figured I would do this video for you guys and kind of give you a short, as short as I can make this, a short review of the week and the things that I did that led to this achievement. So let's get after it. So first we pulled in on Sunday, unloaded the horses and let them rest from a 4 or 5 hour trip there and let them settle in. And that night we exercised them in the arena, showed them the arena, and let them feel the ground and all that, because the next morning we had a paid warm-up. So paid warm-up is usually 5 minutes of free time in the arena, no judges, you can do whatever you want. And on older horses, more seasoned horses, or broke horses, or horses that have been in a show pen a lot that may have some issues because of anticipation or nerves or whatever, paid warm-ups are a great way to get in there and work on these things. And so but with the younger horses, like a 3 or 4 year old, where you just want to go in there and have a positive experience, this is not the kind of time where you want to go in there and try to correct things or fix things. You just want to go in there and see how they feel, make them give them a good experience. And so this is how I started my week with him, and this is how I built up on that through the week. The second thing that we did was on the second day, on Tuesday, was a ladies and gents class, and this class was kind of open. You could do what they allowed you to school in there and allow you to finish your pattern. You had 4 or 5 minutes, and after that you had to leave. As long as you stayed in pattern, they let you finish it. And so I picked a pattern that was similar to the pattern that was my ultimate goal in the class on Sunday, and so I used this this pattern to just, again, program every step of the way and go back to the basics, go back to the foundation of our preparation for the show, the things that we've been doing and repeating every day and improving and making better. So my goal was not to go in there and try to overdo things or get more than I need. It was just to go in there and see what I have and what I need to work on in the following days, again leading to next Sunday. A couple days later was a Novice Horse Open class, the show 1, and so this is the class where I intended to school if he needed schooling. I wasn't going to let him get undone if I felt like he was getting undone or really not holding it together, but I wanted to leave him alone as much as possible to really see what I had. So basically I wanted to go in there and not go balls to the walls. I just wanted to show what I have and see that I can get a solid score of 70 easily, just easy peasy going in there, path 70, no problem. Something that you know, hopefully should be a walk in the park for this horse and for us with all of the work that we've had. And so, but at the same time, there were some areas where I felt that I may have to work on him and work on that in the show pen. So I knew that that was going to take away from my score a little bit, but hopefully I was going to get some pluses here and there. So I came out of there with a 69.5, which, you know, again, I wasn't looking for a score. I was just looking, well, I was looking for 70. I wasn't looking to place or anything like that. I just wanted to know that I could go in there and do a correct pattern that had some potentials on plussing, but you know, and hopefully had no areas that were causing me some major problems. So coming up on the weekend, I had 2 more days to prepare before Sunday. So Friday night was the night where I was going to crank it up a little bit more and trying to really see what my limit is. And then once I meet my limit, throttle back down just a little bit and make this very solid. So we worked on the circle, we worked on the lead change and programming the lead change for the pattern of Sunday, and worked on the turnarounds, which is somewhat my weakness with TX. He's very good two-handed, and if I help him out, he'll hold himself very nice and have a very good footstep, and I can control his feet and shoulder very well with 2 hands. But one-handed, without the help, he tends to stretch out a little bit. And being a deaf horse, I can't really use my voice cues to encourage him to keep going and hold himself and speed up. So it's all about the leg, it's all about the rein, and so he's very attentive to every single movement that I make, and so that makes it a little bit more difficult to really get his spin optimal one-handed. But this is something that I feel that we're progressing, so I'm just hoping that through the pattern I can go and score in the circles and the stops and hopefully get by with no minus in the turnaround and potentially get a plus here and there. So we will see how it goes at this point, and I'm very happy with how he stops. This is a horse that has a very good stop because he has a very, very good approach to the stop, a very good run down, you know, and he builds very good and elevates his shoulders and really hits the ground perfectly. But last year he was a little bit weak at finishing the stop. He would spread a little bit and be a little bit weak in his body at the end of the maneuver, and so it was hard to really score a solid +1/2 or even get a +1 in the show pen with him last year when I was testing him out, and even at home or even when I had him at the show. But now I feel like we're able to get there, to get a solid +1/2 and close to a +1 in the stops, and it's just got better and better over every night and every day there at the horse show, because the ground is so good and it makes such a big difference. We have a pretty good ground here at home, but the ground at this facility is phenomenal, and I can always count on that to really help me make a very big step forward with my horses, and we sure did there with TX. Where it gets really interesting is the night before I showed. So I was riding the other horses and I had Taya, my assistant, bring TX, and once she brought him, I asked her to warm him up, and she was jogging around, and I said, okay, go ahead and lope him around a little bit. And this is something that some trainers may be somewhat reluctant to have, you know, either their assistant or somebody else ride their horses, do more than warming up the horse the day before, the night before they have to show, especially in the first big show of the year, and, you know, and with the ultimate goal that I had being, you know, being a high one. I trust the horse knows his job, and Taya's a great hand, and I knew that she would be very passive with him and just ride him, you know, and not train on him, just ride him. And I think that that's what he needs at this point in time. And I felt that if he couldn't do that, then okay, I was going to have to work on it. But it's something that I wanted to see. And the next thing I knew is they're loping around very, very nicely. And of course they were known to be, they were getting along together very well at the house when she rides him, and it wasn't the first time. But anyways, he was just going around very nice, so I asked her to speed him up, and she sped him up, and he was just a really happy camper. Maybe a little bit flat in the body, maybe not holding himself you know, as strongly as I would like, or as if it was me riding him. But this is what I think horses need to do in order to really make the next step and become really broke horses. And I think that this is a very good indicator that the horses is in a good place. If you can have somebody else just come out there and do the maneuvers on the horse is just really happy to do it. So when that happens, this is the time where I encourage that, and I really encouraged that night, and I said, go on, speed him up and go a little bit faster, and he did really good for her. And so when I got on him, he was just in a very good state of mind. So I asked everything similar to the way that I did the night before when I had asked find more where the limit was at, and he tried very hard in every aspect. So I kept it short and sweet and gave him some good rest, because I wanted to take him back out in the early hours of that morning, because I had to show in the early early afternoon, and I want to take him back out and have a quiet ride in the arena that I was going to show him in. So I took him out there, and to my surprise, a fellow trainer was sitting in the chair there, and there was nobody else in the arena, just him. And we had discussed prior in the week, and he had shown some interest in TX, and I said, well, he's not for sale right now, but it's something that we may consider down the road. So I said, hey, you know, if we decide that we do sell him, then why don't you just hop on him and try him out? This way you'll have tried him, and you'll know how he feels. And he agreed. Well, at first he said, aren't you showing him tomorrow? And I said, yeah. He was like, well, and then I said, well, it's okay. I really trust the horse, and I definitely trust you, because it's a very, very good hand, and it's you know, and I trusted that he would do the right thing by the horse. And anyways, and it was always, I think it's always very interesting for me to watch other people, for sure, if they're, you know, if they're trainers that I respect, to watch them ride my horses, because it really helps me see exactly where I'm at, and it helps me pinpoint some things that I know that I could do better. And it was interesting because I ride a lot more with an indirect rein, especially at this stage of training with my horses. When I transition from two hands to one hand, if you followed my videos, you will see, you know that I like to do a lot of indirect rein in order to transition to get my horses broke one-handed, but that involves a lot of inside rein. And so when he pitched him a little bit looser and was looking more for him to get, you know, to channel his energy through his diagonal off the outside rein, that kind of led, you know, TX to be a little bit lost and stick his head to the outside, and you know, he was looking for that support there that I seem to be just always there giving him. But it was interesting to watch him work on it and not just go and babysit him, but just instead let him figure it out and find his balance, and he did. So I like to think that this is something that really helped me the next day quite a bit, but it definitely helped me to watch it, and so for that I thank him very, very much. And anyways, the point of this story is that yeah, I let Taya run some fast circles the night before, and let Trevor do a little bit of everything and give him a feel the day before I had to show him, and I did that because this is what this is all about, and this is having confidence in your program and confidence in your horses. And I'm all about creating positive scenarios, and those both scenarios turned out to be positive scenarios. Whether they were going to be productive for my performance the next day, I did not know, but I followed my instincts and my gut on this one, and it turns out that it didn't hurt, because we ended up winning the Novice Horse Open Show 2 with a very, very cool run, scoring a 73.5. And I remember walking out of the pen with that 73.5 feeling very emotional, because it's an indescribable feeling when a horse just really goes out there and tries his best, and tries so as hard as TX did. And my point is, you know, and the reason that I made this video is that, you know, we work really hard on training and on doing all of these things to get our horses as broke and trained in order for them to perform for us. But ultimately it's a state of mind, and no matter what you're going to do in training your horse or in preparing your horse and working the maneuvers and all of that stuff, it's only gonna matter if your horse really chooses to do this for you. And I think it's gonna always make a difference between horses having to do something for the rider and horses wanting to do something for the rider. And it's very gratifying when you know that you approached it, that, you know, with trusting your horse to come around and say, okay, yes, I will, you know, I will try hard for you, rather than choking and not trusting your horse, and therefore taking measures that I think are not the way that I would like to do things, you know, in performance horse and in horse training. So anyways, with that said, when we went in the Novice Horse Open Class 2, he tried very hard in the first one, but I made a mistake in my last maneuver. You have to let your horse finish its stop before you back up, and I was a bit quick with my hand asking him to back up after my last stop, and he thought we were rolling back. So I managed to catch him before he went over that 90-degree turn, and that would end up with a 0 and brought him back straight. But that deducted my maneuver by at least half to maybe a point. So I ended up with a score of 72. So I still was really happy with the performance, knowing that it was my mistake, and happy with knowing the fact that I would have had a 72.5 or 73. So this was my goal, and I was, you know, pretty happy about it. My left roll back was not great. I he was a little bit tired by that point, and I anticipated the movement a little too much with my body, and so I had a little bit more weight on his inside shoulder, so he couldn't really free up enough to make that really nice 180 movement. So that got me there a little bit. So there were some things that were not perfect, but again, overall happy with the performance. Where the magic really happened was after I was pretty early in the draw, and then after the 66 riders came, 2 of them, including the last rider of the class, tied me to win at a 72 as well. And so it's not the biggest class of the horse show by any means. It was just a novice horse open class, but for me it was the ultimate goal. It may have been, it may as well have been the Derby as far as I'm concerned, because this is a class where, you know, I really wanted TX to show me that he had it in him, and I really wanted all of my work to really come together and show me that, yeah, we have, you know, we are on the right track. So my expectations were high, and he exceeded my expectations on many levels. And so what I decided to do was to not co-champion, and I said no. If you know, if you guys want to, I'll run off, because I really think that he can win this class, and I felt very confident that we could go out there and do it again. And so they agreed to run off, and so I ran back to the trailer, since we had started loading, I got the saddles out and got what I needed, got TX stacked up and warmed him up, and I was first to go, and he felt good. But what's really important is that I didn't go back out there and try to get more that he already given me. I approached everything the exact same way as I had done on the first day when I prepared him for my paid warm-up, or as I do at home. I did, you know, so I didn't get out of my comfort zone. I mean, I stayed within my comfort zone, and just knowing where my limit is at. And yes, we do need to get out of our comfort zone in order to push our limits. Okay, so if you always stay within your comfort zone, you're never really going to grow or improve. So it's really important to push your limits beyond your limit, and then once you feel that, it's very important to throttle back down, you know, within that threshold, and then make that solid, and then do that again. But there are times to do that, and at the horse show just before a class is definitely not a time to push that limit. So I knew where my limit was at. I worked everything up to that limit in the same way, and TX just prepared perfectly, and I was very, very confident. We felt great going in, and he laid out a performance, you know, that was way beyond my expectations. So it was a very emotional day. I was very, very happy, and this is the kind of situation that really justifies everything that we do. So if you stayed and watched this video up until now, I really appreciate it very much. If you found any value in this video, please give it a like, as it helps me grow this channel. If you are interested in knowing what are all of the steps, a little bit more in depth of what I do to prepare my horse to show, I have 3 or 4 videos that explain that in length with different horses and different situations. If you would like to see more about other training tips and tricks, such as extending the stride, improving the diagonals, and all of these things, I even have videos with TX on the on the Comfort Zone horse training video series, and so you can see how he has progressed from there until now. And if you are not signed up to the Comfort Zone horse training video series, please do so, because there will be many more videos with TX where we will continue to look at his progress, and we have new videos coming on with the young horses on the foundation training. So I encourage you to have a look. So again, thank you for staying until the end. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video. Cheers.